Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video. In today's video, we're going to be going over Yuanwu, the guy that literally is the only fist fighter in the game right now. He's basically a conducto pugilist type of character. We're going to be going over his auto attacks, his skills, his resonance liberation, aka ult. We're going to be going over all his skill sets and breaking it down for you guys so you guys can understand how mechanically he works. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to go over the Wuthering Forte so you guys can understand and really break down what is going on in this full kit. So let's go into his Wuthering Forte. This one's not going to show it either. Some of them don't have like the visual clicky stuff here, so just bear with me. I'm going to try my best to explain it. So with his auto attack, it's literally just like 5 auto attacks that he does. He performs 5 powerful martial arts, so he'll kick, he'll punch, and he'll do like a shoulder heavy attack as well, and he could do a plunge, jump down, punch the ground kind of attack. So it's basically just normal attacks. You do 5 heavy attack with a, like, when you hold charged attack, when you hold the click button and do a charge attack, it says heavy attack, he'll do his little shoulder hit, and then plunge, you just jump and auto click down. Very easy. And also when you do a dodge during combat and you counter with an auto attack, it will do conducto damage as well. So I have to break down his E. Is very it took me a while to figure out, but now I kind of have the gist of it. So I want you guys to also, I always do this in every video, pay attention to this bar at the bottom. It's not full yet. I'm going to show you in the showcase later, but this is his resonance chain. So basically it's called Thunder Thorns, right? So basically what's being filled up is called Thunder Thorns to fill up that chain. Now let's go over that really quick. So here it's called Lightning Wish, which I don't understand because it's weird. Like the description, it tells you that you're filling up Thunder Thorns. It's a little confusing. I'm still trying to, I don't really understand this one that much, but from what I've been testing and trying to figure out is that when you fill this bar up, it applies something to the enemy when you use your skill. Okay, so what happens is when you have that bar filled up and you use your E ability, if you just tap your E, it doesn't do anything. It does a little bit of conducto damage, but when you tap your E, basically what happens is it creates a pillar in the middle and around a big circle of conducto AoE. So what happens is that stays there, and when you switch to another character, you can still do some conducto damage as you're DPSing with other characters. As long as that pillar's on the field, you can be able to do that. But what happens is when this resonance chain gets filled up and you hold E, what happens is when you do it on an enemy while holding E, it creates a thunder mark. And a thunder mark, when it's applied to an enemy and you start DPSing with Yuanwu specifically, he continuously does conducto damage. Now, if this wasn't applied, he'll be doing physical damage instead. That's kind of like what it tells you. When you apply thunder mark to the enemy, when you see the little diamond shard, what I'm going to show you, then when you start DPSing, you basically apply thunder scars, and you're going to see little sparks come out when you're DPSing. That's basically a buff towards your conducto damage. It basically just increases the damage for the thunder scars that you're hitting, right? Also, when you do this full resonance chain E ability and you leave it on the field and you switch to another character, it will apply conducto damage continuously for a couple seconds. I don't know how long it lasts. I would say maybe 10 to 15 seconds it'll last on the field. So he does basically off-field damage, which is really cool. I didn't think that he would be doing that when I first was looking into him, but he does do that, and he does also thunder mark some enemies as well. Now, his skill. I want to talk about his skill. All you have to do is remember that when you use his skill, there's a tap E and a hold E, right? When you tap E, it's called dim lighting, right? And it creates this thing called Wedge of Withering Night, right? When it's active, any resonator or character that you use and you're in there, it will give you conducto damage once every like 2.5 seconds, right? And the whole thing lasts like 10 to 15 seconds. So that's for tapping only, okay? Now, when you have the resonance chain filled up and you hold E, it creates a thing called Myriad Thunder, right? So what happens here is for the dim lighting one, it just gets placed, it applies conducto, right? But when you have the full resonance chain filled and you hold E and you cause Myriad Thunder, what happens is It creates a thunder mark towards the enemy. It creates an AoE of conducto damage when you switch to another character. And also when you're like fighting and this pillar disappears, it explodes and also does conducto damage on top of that. Another thing that can happen is if you're staying in the field with Yuanwu and you hold E and you, for the first 6 seconds, you start attacking, his normal and heavy attacks, they convert into conducto damage. Normally before that effect, he just does physical damage. But with this applied, you will do conducto damage all the way through until that effect kind of depletes. A little complicated, I know, but once I start showcasing it, it will be easier. His resonance liberation, basically his ult attack. You hold R, well, you don't have to hold R, you just press R when it gets filled up, and he basically does like a big, huge punch to the enemy, okay? Now, what happens here is he deals conducto damage and inflicts one thunder scar upon enemies. So he gives them all scars. He can go crazy and DPS everybody. It's insane. And then his thunder marks become upgraded to thunder scars, right? So there's this other effect that happens too. It's called blazing light. Resonators with this effect gets bonus on attack and resistance to interruption. Now, I'm not going to test that. I just want to talk about his kit in general, but just to let you guys know that he is kind of like a buffer kind of character. So when you switch, you get an attack buff and you get resistance to interruptions. Pretty OP. So he's a pretty good support DPS type of character. Off-field damage is a definite plus, but let's get into his actual kit, right? Okay, so we got some enemies here in front of us. I'm gonna do some auto attacks and show some examples on the auto attacks, the skill, and the ultimate attack, and how these thunder scars work. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start doing some regular auto attacks that you can do. All physical damage, no conducto damage yet. Right? No conducto damage, nothing at all. I'm gonna place one. I'm gonna use my E and I'm gonna place a pillar, right? So we placed one. This doesn't do anything yet, but when we DPS a little bit, we get some conducto damage from it, okay? Now, I'm gonna do it again. It hit them all, did some conducto damage again. Now, what I want you guys to pay attention to is that our resonance chain is completely filled up and it's telling us on the resonance chain, it says E. Now this time, I'm not gonna just tap because it's not gonna work. What I'm gonna do is hold it this time and you're gonna see some little diamond purple like shards be around the enemy, and that's basically marking them. Basically a thunder mark. So let's do that real quick, right? Now they all have thunder marks. So when I start DPSing, if they're close enough, the conducto attacks will connect, right? So we'll do it again. We'll try to fill it up here. All right, we're gonna do it one more time so I can show you. All right, we have our E filled. Now look, now we're gonna apply the thunder marks again by holding E, and now we're gonna DPS like crazy. And if we get them close enough, we could hit them both at the same time, causing conducto damage on both. Very, very, very cool ability. And you could do this off field too. So if they have those shards on them and you switch to another character, it'll still apply the conducto damage evenly, okay? Let's get our resonance chain up. Now I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hold E and then do our resonance liberation attack, okay? We're gonna hold E, resonance liberation, right? And now we can start DPSing. You could do that too if you want. And now they have the shards around them, which is basically the thunder marks and the thunder scars, okay? So let's see if we could try to do it again really quick. We have our full E, we're gonna do it again. Nice. DPS, DPS, DPS. Conducto damage everywhere for a few seconds, and then it goes away, okay? Very, very simple unit to use, but it's a little complicated when you read it. I hope that it was explained well, because it is very complicated, but I think once you understand how this works, you know, it only works for a few seconds, then you go straight to physical damage, right? He's a very fast-paced kind of character to use, so he is a ton of fun, but he's a little technical because you have to figure out like who you're applying the thunder shards to for the extra damage that you're wanting, right? So now we're gonna do our R. We're gonna punch everybody. Boom, big attack. And those first few seconds are crucial. You need to use it so you can fully DPS with it. And that's basically how Yuanwu works. I know reading it's a little complicated. It could be that it's not translated correctly, but it is a little bit confusing. I was trying to figure out what's the difference between thunder marks and thunder scars. Just to break it down easier for you, when you see those diamond shaped things floating around the enemy, those are thunder marks. So when you hit them, they do conducto damage. When you start attacking them, it applies thunder scars, and what thunder scars does, it basically buffs your conducto damage. Your conducto damage goes a little bit higher. They're both not visible. It's just the thunder mark is what you could see on the enemy. So with that being said, I hope that you guys understood and really understood this breakdown on Yuanwu, and I hope you guys like this character. I think he's a cool character because he's like the only one that's like a pugilist, like puncher kind of like character in the game right now for Wuthering Waves, and he's a very unique character, and he does some off-field damage when you switch out and switch in with him. He's a good character to have on a team. So guys, if I missed out on anything on this specific character, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know what character you want to see next. Yeah, let me know what character you'll see next, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below any questions you guys might have. I'll try my best to answer them. But with that being said, guys, I really hope that this video brought you value. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.